Welcome back. Today we're gonna... Wait, what's wrong with this thing? KeyCat, I think the TV's broken.
Maybe you kicked the plug out by accident.
I didn't think I did. But I guess so. There we go. Wait, where are the lessons? Oh no, I think it reset.
Billy, don't worry. I have a backup.
Of course you do. And what, you take another 5% of my profits?
10%. But numbers aren't important. The lessons are. Here you go.
Phew. Okay, we're back on track. So today we're going to be learning about numbers. In Korean, there are two different number systems depending on what it is that you're counting. So money and most measurements will be counted using one system, and people, objects, and animals will be counted using the other. And that means that there are two different ways to count from 1 to 99. So let's look at a few examples. 1 could be 일 or 하나. 10 can be 10 or 열. And 93 could be 93 or 93. Beyond 99, only one number system is used. So the number for 100 is just 100. Korea's two number systems are known as Sino Korean and Pure Korean. First, let's talk about Sino Korean. Sino comes from a word meaning Chinese, and this is what you're going to be using for counting money, days, and time, for measuring things, and this is the most commonly used number system in Korea. Pure Korean numbers, however, did not come from the Chinese language. They were made in Korea. And these are used for counting people, animals, most objects, and how many years old you are. There are pure Korean numbers, though, only from 1 to 99. In this lesson, we'll focus on Sino-Korean numbers. In the next two lessons, we'll learn pure Korean numbers, as well as how to count all of these things and more. Alright, so now let's learn how to actually count from 1 to 10 using Sino-Korean numbers. I recommend that you follow along. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Feel free to also pause the video here and practice them once more on your own. And I recommend writing those numbers down and practicing them until you feel a bit more comfortable with them. So next, let's learn how to count from 11 to 99. And the way that you'll make numbers larger than 10 is that you're going to use math. You'll add or multiply by the largest number. So here's how that works. For example, 11 will be 10 plus 1. 12 will be 10 plus 2. 19 is 10 plus 9, and 20 is 2 times 10. And finally, 52 is 5 times 10 plus 2. So you can combine the numbers like this, ignoring any plus or multiplication signs. So here are some examples. 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, 14, 15, 15, 16, 16. Note that 16 is actually pronounced as 16. This is an exception. 17, 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20. Notice how it's 2, 10, 20. 35, 35, 52, 52, 89, 89, 90, 90, and 99, 99. So again, practice those numbers a little bit before moving on. Next, let's learn how to count from 100 up until 9,999. And the way it works is the same as before. 10 is 10, 100 is 100, and 1,000 is 1000. Here's how that works. For example, 101 is 100 plus 1. 300 is 3 times 100. 1023 is 1000 plus 2 times 10 plus 3. Note that it's not necessary to add 1, il, in front of a large digit, 10, 100, or 1000. So here are some examples. 110, 110. 200, 200. 601, 601. 720, 720. 505, 505. 1100, 1100. 1150, 1150. 1011, 1011. 2000, 2000. 3110, 3110. 6572, 6572. 180, 180. 359, 359. 9900, 9900. 9999, 9999. So practice all of those numbers before moving on, but we can even get much higher if we know the next largest digit, and that is 10,000. Now 10,000 is not 10,000, but it is 만. And using 만, we can get some of these numbers. 10만, 10만, which is 10 10,000s or 100,000. 100만, 100만, 1 million. 1000만, 1000만, 10 million. And we can even go further if we know the next largest digit, which is 억. 억 is 10,000 of 10,000 or 100 million. So using these numbers, 10, 100, 1000, 만, and 억, we could count all the way up to 999 billion, 999 million, 999,999. Now, we're not going to focus in this lesson about how to master numbers, only introducing them. It will just take a lot of time and practice before you can master them. And in future lessons, we'll encounter many more examples of numbers. Using Sino-Korean numbers, you can also count money. So next, let's take a look at the Korean currency, won. In order to count how much won you have, simply say the number with Sino-Korean numbers followed by 1. Here are some examples of that. 250 won, 250 won. 1000 won, 1000 won. 8,000원, 8,000 won. 5만 원, 50,000 won. 10만 원, 100,000 won. 50만 원, 500,000 won. 300만 원, 3 million won. And it's not just counting money that we can use Sino-Korean numbers for. These numbers are also used when measuring things, such as distance or weight or temperature. Here are a few other examples that we can use to count. 리터, liter. 그램, gram. 미터, meter. 킬로, kilo. 마일, mile. 도, degree. Note that Korea uses Celsius for degree, not Fahrenheit. Alright, so we've done a lot of practice with numbers in this lesson. Let's take some of what we've learned and put it together into a conversation between two people. Here we have Sara and Jinjung. First, Sara says, 저기요. Excuse me. 네? Yes? 이거 얼마예요? How much is this? 그 가방이요? That bag? 2만 원이에요. That is 20,000 won. 2만 원은 너무 비싸요. 20,000 won is too expensive. 저 가방은 얼마예요? How much is that bag over there? 저 가방은 조금 더 비싸요. That bag over there is a little more expensive. 23,000원이에요. That is 23,000 won. 이 가방은요? As for this bag? 5만 원이에요. That is 50,000 won. 아, 네. 아, okay.
저기요,
네,
이거 얼마예요?
그 가방이요? 2만 원이에요.
2만 원은 너무 비싸요. 저 가방은 얼마예요?
저 가방은 조금 더 비싸요. 2만 3천 원이에요.
이 가방은요?
5만 원이에요.
아, 네.
So, in this lesson, we learned how to count using Sino Korean numbers, as well as several different counters that we can use. So practice everything here, and I'll see you again in the next lesson. 그럼 다음에 또 봐!